Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Invictus Pro Wrestling Power Hour. Alex Aceta, your hostess with the mostest, here with Nick Goutman. Ryan Gross, unfortunately, cannot be with us tonight, but he sends his love and wishes all our viewers a Happy New Year. And, of course, we got the man of the hour, our special guest, Mr. Ray Jazz.
Boom. I'd put headphones in, but, those earbuds, they don't go on these cauliflower ears, so.
How are you doing, Ray? How are your holidays?
It was good. It was good. I got back from Florida, got to meet up with took a little bit of a quarantine, because you kind of have to do that. But, it was a small little family thing for Christmas. But, hey, we're still hustling and still making it happen. So.
Good stuff, dude. Good stuff. Yeah, we'll definitely talk more about Florida and your experience on AEW Dark. Congratulations about that, by the way. We'll touch on that a little bit later, but for right now, we got some questions for you. So I'm going to switch to speaker view here. So my first question, it's the same question that we literally ask every guest that we have on, which is, how did you first get into? And it's interesting because now talking to you, I have to make the distinction between pro wrestling and amateur wrestling. Usually I say wrestling and everyone knows what we're talking about. So I'm going to clarify and say pro wrestling first, and then we'll kind of backtrack and talk more about the
well, you can't really talk about the pro if you don't talk about the amateur,
it's
right?
True. It's true. So,
yeah. I'll give you a little overview. I know you wanted to go the opposite way, but I like to connect the dots like this because it's a big story. So. Yeah. They're all connected. So I started amateur wrestling when I was 5 years old in kindergarten, and I'm from a town called South Plainfield, New Jersey, and it's a wrestling town. Like you see like Friday Night Lights in Texas with football games on Fridays. My town, it's wrestling. We were the number one team in the state and everything, and it was the thing to do was to wrestle. But my grandfather was a big pro wrestling fan, and he was a big fan of Bob Backlund. So my grandfather actually said, if you want to do this, you got to wrestle on these mats. So I got on the mats, and long story short, I fell in love with just competing on the wrestling mat. I was a wrestling fan until around probably 6 or 7, whatever, middle school. And then, when you're an amateur wrestler, man, you get you get some crap if you watch pro wrestling because, you get that stigma. But it was like 8th grade where Zach Evanesh, he's one of my mentors. He's a strength and conditioning coach. He owns Underground Strength Gym. He was good friends with the Ultimate Warrior. And the Ultimate Warrior came and talked to us before our lifts. He did this about, I think, 2 or 3 times. And, man, he just pumped. Imagine a young Ray Jazz, 8th grade, getting ready for high school wrestling. And the Ultimate Warrior comes in there and just fires you up, man. He was – a lot of his lessons, I wish he was alive now because there's so much knowledge I probably could have learned from him. But he always, the one thing that, Zach kind of recorded some of it back then, and I watch a little bit of it now. And the things that I picked up from him was how passionate he was and how much he believed in himself, because he gets a lot of criticism and a lot of things. But he was just so passionate in what he believed in. And he tried to tell us that we need to have that same passion for whatever we want to achieve. And, he was all about, everything that you do it with passion, because if you have no passion in it, what's the point of doing it? So, you had that. And then eventually I get to college. I was training some guys at Henzo Gracie's Academy, because they wanted some wrestlers there. So couple of pro wrestlers were there. A lot of guys do jujitsu and stuff. So they're like, oh, why don't you try doing this? And then one of my roommates, he was a wrestling fan and was like, oh, like WrestleMania is like coming up. Like, let's watch it. We get the free trial. So it's like, it's funny. Once you meet another pro wrestling fan, it's like you just have childhood memories of you watching this, you watching that. And my buddy worked for Felt, which is like a clothing company. He designs like logos and stuff. So the gear that I wear, he designs my logo. So everything that I do, I like to have a piece of my past and just my friends with me. And then my junior year in college, my sister unfortunately passed away. And that kind of made me think, like, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want my legacy to be? And, my junior year in college, I was I was ranked pretty high in the country. Unfortunately, I didn't get it done. But then my senior year was really when I tied everything together and took the lessons from what my sister, had. And eventually, I became an All-American at NYU, taking 7th in the country, becoming the most wins in the program history. And with that, it was like, the passion thing, right? So not only did I, anything could have went south once my sister passed. But in my head, I was like, this is my passion. This is my goal, to be an All-American. I wanted to be a national champ, but I got the next best thing, right? I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I did everything that I could be to be that national champ. So then, I was an All-American. I was satisfied with my career. But then it kicks in, you graduate, man. And the past, I think it was 19 years, I've been amateur wrestling, chasing after this goal. And it's like, you scratch your head, you're like, okay, what do I do now? All right. And you go on these job interviews and to random places like financial management, account, like just weird stuff, marketing and everything. And it's just something, we go back to passion, something I had no passion for. I could have fought if I wanted to, but I didn't feel like cutting weight, man. I wrestled 157 for 4 years in college. I was done with the cutting weight. And it wasn't until I did a clinic in Brooklyn for kids, wrestling clinic, camp. And the head coach I was cool with, I used to help him out. He was best friends with Bob Backlund, right?
Oh,
So
circle.
there you go. See how it comes full circle, my man. And Bob talked to me. He goes, yeah, you're great with kids. You obviously got a good background. He goes, why don't you give it a shot? So I thought about it. And I went on this crappy job interview. And then Bob calls me again. I swear I took off my tie and I wanted to put on a bow tie. And I'm like, you're right. I'm going to go into pro wrestling. And, he guided me to this guy, Damian Adams. And it's almost, I think it's 2.5 years now, almost 3 years. So ever since then, man, it's been full steam ahead. So good old Bob Backlund put me in the right direction. And yeah, that's it. That's how I said it kind of comes connected. It's hard to talk about one without the other.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. And wow, that's probably like, because like I said, we start every interview with this question, but that's probably the most like unique story I think we've heard yet. And it also like, it just makes so much sense because, people that follow you on media, they see the jazz tip of the day and everything that you post, but like knowing that whole story behind it just makes it like all the more meaningful.
Right. Yeah. Because Bob's a very positive guy and he's a hard worker, man. Talk about passion. Same thing like the Ultimate Warrior. That man, his passion is to inspire everyone, Bob. And, he's the blue collar guy. I'm from a blue collar town in New Jersey. He's that blue collar guy. And it was cool that I got to wrestle Fred Rosser, Darren Young, who worked, Bob was his manager in the WWE. So that came full circle too. We tried to get Bob there for the match, but he couldn't make it, unfortunately. That would have been cool. But yeah.
A quick question though, just about like what you were saying about how like everything's like had meaning in terms of translation. The colors for your tights, NYU colors?
NYU colors, right? Purple. Yep. Got the purple color, man. I had to switch it up though for dark. I had to wrestle the Dark Order, so good thing I had a red.
That's awesome. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to know. So obviously, your move set in the ring is very much influenced by your amateur background. Is there anything else that sort of like carried over from your amateur days into your professional career? Like anything maybe that like people might not expect?
Well, definitely work ethic. I would say the hardest thing for me, to start with getting into pro wrestling was reacting to the fans and showing off your work ethic. So when I was in college, I didn't want any of my opponents to know how I worked. I didn't want them to know my workouts. I didn't want them to know my technique. I didn't want them to know anything. So in pro wrestling, you have to unwind that and show everyone everything. This is how I work out. This is how I eat. This is how I train in the ring. And it's the reason why it's like, why would anyone want to watch you if you don't show them what you can do? So that was the biggest learning curve for me, was that. And now I do it all the time. I got the jazz tips of the day. Everyone can see my workouts. So it's just kind of getting out of my comfort zone, which I was used to getting out of my comfort zone, in amateur wrestling, with just pushing the pace and giving it all out. Now it's like, you're using it in a different way. And people used to give me crap because it was like, oh, you're not using your NYU degree. And I'm like, actually, I am. Like, pro wrestling, you got to use everything. You got to learn how to market. You got to learn how to brand. You got to know how to do social media. You got to know how to work out. You got to know how to eat. And then you have to know how to compete in the ring, right? So I tell people I'm using everything that I learned, So that's the big thing right there.
100%. If it were just like, if no one were using their degree, everyone would be a success in pro wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, you have to use other aspects of your education to like really make sure you go that extra mile to find that success that you want.
Right, definitely. And, as much it is athletically, it is marketing yourself and branding yourself and seeing what other people are doing. All right, how can I do that differently? Okay, how is my brand different than yours? Because you're competing not only in the ring, but you're competing, it's my brand versus your brand, right? And it is. It's competitive in all aspects. So
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So changing gears a little bit now, we touched on it at the start of the episode here, but you, of course, had your AEW debut last week on AEW Dark, which congratulations for. Tell us a little bit more about that. What was that like? Like, what was, going through your head when you were going out there?
Well, for me, any kind of match, I treat it as just another day at the office, right? So I had this saying in college where it was like, don't be a practice room player, practice how you want to compete. And it's the same thing. I train really hard in the ring with Damian Adams and Team Adams. And for me to get that opportunity to wrestle on AEW Dark, it was just another day at the office, prove and compete the way I know how to wrestle. And, I had a feeling like, it was a great opportunity, and I wanted to take that opportunity and seize it the best way I could. I got my nice tan, and I made sure I hit the gym really hard too, which I do anyway. But what I was telling you guys, before, it was a good, not a relief, but it was good because up in the Northeast, people are running few and far between, and there's no fans. And, it was good motivation to know that, you're getting an opportunity to compete for a high level company like that. So it really makes you, step it up another gear. So I was just grateful for the opportunity.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I mean, yeah, you definitely color us impressed because we watched at home, and you definitely, made a good impression here.
You saw some Bob Backlund in there, huh? With the headlock.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And now I was like, that spot makes a lot of sense, knowing what I know now. So, between AEW Dark and also, of course, you've previously appeared on 205 Live. So you've, accomplished a lot in a relatively, short career that you've had thus far. So what accomplishment are you most proud of? And well, actually, I'll get to the second part later. What accomplishment are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'm very based on, what I have to do tomorrow to get to the next level. And, accomplishments are good, but, there's always another level I want to get to, right? And the goal is, to compete at that next level, to compete, constantly on WWE, get signed by WWE or AEW, right? You want to get to that next level. So I never take those, accomplishments. I never get too satisfied with them because, I know there's another level, and then after that, another level. So, I mean, the accomplishments are nice. I like, like I said, I'm thankful for them, but there's always another level. But if you want to treat it as my favorite match, like accomplishment match, I would say probably I wrestled Thomas Santel like I think I was like maybe less than a year in, and we wrestled, man. Oh, it was like 15, 20 minutes, and we were just going at it. It was just like an amateur wrestling match. We were going at it. It was that one, and I just felt so comfortable, just just getting my double legs and then scrambling, and we were funk rolling. It was legit like a college wrestling match. So that one was a fun one to compete. But even just competing with Fred Rosser, and I think we went 25, 30 minutes, and he was the veteran and I was the rookie, and we're both trained by the same guy. We both had this Bob Backlund connection, and we were out there to prove what we had to prove. I had to prove I had it in this business. He had to prove that he still has it, and he could still wrestle at a high level. So that was another favorite match of mine. If you want to call it accomplishment, you can. But like I said, with accomplishments, it's like, I accept them. I'm thankful for them. And it's like, you tip your cap to them, but there's always work to put in the next day. You could always get better. I call it the white belt mentality, and I had it in college too. I always was willing to learn from anyone that was there, especially in pro wrestling. You want to learn from anyone that you can. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta find that Thomas Santel match because I'm a big fan of his work in Beyond.
Yeah, I could send you it. I'll send it to you
Yeah,
after. It was good. Yeah. We got to do a rematch. We've been talking. We got to get a rematch again. It was at Test of Strengths. Maybe we could get it at Invictus.
yeah, I'd be down. Maybe once Nick Gage is healed up, we can bring him in as Santel's tag partner.
Hey, I'm down. I'm down to compete, my man. I'm down to compete with anyone. So let's make it happen.
No, Nick Gage terrifies me, so maybe not. Um, so that's a good actually then segue into what was the second part of that question, which is so it's the last week of the year. A lot of people are posting their New Year's resolutions or the things they want to manifest and in the new year. So what are some of your goals for 2021 and beyond?
2021 would just inspire more people at a higher level. Get my social media numbers up, like I've been getting them up. But I think it's important, especially now, to inspire other people, especially with this pandemic. And I had this conversation with a couple of people that I know, and a couple people in pro wrestling, and even just people in the business world that I know. And we talk about purpose, right? You have a goal, but what is your purpose to achieve that goal, right? So my goal is to wrestle at that next level, right? Consistently get signed by WWE or AEW, but why do I want to do it? And I had to think about this because I tell my kids, why do you want to be a national champion? What is your purpose, right? And my purpose of being a national champ I had in college was to prove that hard work pays off. And in my mind, yes, that's the same thing now, but now there's even a bigger purpose. And my purpose is to inspire kids and inspire youth and also people in college and high school. It's another reason why I have the podcast. We could talk about that later, but just give people a reason and inspiration that they can do it and not give up. And also to grow the sport of wrestling. Because amateur wrestling, we almost lost it, right, in the Olympics. An Olympic ago, we almost lost it. Why? Because there wasn't numbers, right? It wasn't as popular. People took it for granted, and the world kind of forgot about it. It's the oldest sport out there. So if I could use my platform and get other kids like I was when my grandfather was like, you have to step on this mat if you want to make it in the ring, right? I want other kids to inspire to do that. And if I'm growing pro wrestling too and amateur wrestling at the same time, then I think that purpose will be reached. And, sometimes that purpose is even more important than the goal itself. So if I could do that in 2021, I know that's a long-term goal, but 2021 is just inspire as many people and just keep on inspiring myself and just keep the hard work coming. Like, especially now it's hard to see hard work paying off because of the pandemic, but just keep grinding. And I just hope other kids see it too. Because I know a lot of kids that I coach, man, they're really down this year. especially when they canceled especially when they canceled their national tournament, and then they canceled they didn't cancel the season yet. They postponed it to March, but it's hard to motivate these kids now. But when I'm showing them that I'm grinding every day and I'm talking to them every day and keeping them motivated, it just makes the purpose even more important than the goal. So that's my 2020 resolution. Hopefully I didn't go on a tangent there, but
No, no, man, the passion's contagious. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
it's all about the journey.
Yeah. Um, so let's talk about NYU for a little bit. About your time there. So I mean, NYU, of course, is a competitive school. So what was it like? Was it challenging? Balancing studies and athletics while you were there?
Oh, it was nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, I controlled what I could control. I was smart with using my resources, and sometimes during wrestling season, you're more on a schedule than not. But I tell people all this time, it's possible. And I posted a story on Sunday how I had to wrestle my first collegiate home match at Cole's Gym in front of all these people, but I had a final to take. And any other person would have just took the final. Me, I had to do both. So if you could really make it happen, you can make it happen. I talked to my professor. I talked to my coach. I went in, I took the final a little bit. I left everything there. I was like, here, like, I promise you I won't cheat. Like, I legit just have to wrestle. And, he could tell you how NYU professors are. They don't really care if you do a sport or not. But I gained this professor's trust because I was there every day. I asked questions. I went to study hall. So, he gained my trust. I got that final done as much as I could, and then I had to go sprint over to Cole's and weigh in. And this is me cutting weight down to I think it was 157 or 149. And I made weight and I ate what I could, and I was cutting it close, man, because he says you got to be back here by 8 or else you're done. Like, I'm not waiting. I want to go home, like the professor. So I had to go on the mat. I literally had to pin him in the quickest way possible. After I pinned him, I swear I just left my bags there, just put on a shirt, and I ran. And this was like cold December, New York City. So I went there, finished the final, and I got an A in the class and an A in there. And, you could find ways to succeed because I graduated with a 3.7. I was an All-American, but I was also a 4-time academic All-American. And I stress that just as important to the kids that I coached than the actual All-American, because you want to be the total package. And with NYU, man, those classes are hard because, like I said, the professors, they don't care if you're an athlete or not. They don't care. They're trying to get your education, but they're dealing with a lot of kids in their class too. So, and I also, when I would do papers and stuff, I used my teammates really well. If we had to go on a trip to like Cornell or something, that bus ride, I'd make sure I'd get my papers done or like my homework done, and I would have the smarter kids on my team like proofread it. So that's another thing. Like, I made sure I got my work done. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't the best. I used like some of the English majors. I'm like, here, read my paper. What can I fix? They didn't do it for me, like, but they did the proofreads and stuff. Like, they didn't do my work. Trust me.
Yeah.
But a 5-hour bus ride up to Cornell when it's snowing, and it's gonna take 6 hours because of the traffic. It's like, why not? They were willing to do it, but it was just finding ways instead of excuses. And that's honestly how I got through NYU. There was no like secret formula or, it wasn't that I was super smart. It was just I worked really hard and I used what was given to me. So
Smart man.
That's awesome. So I guess my next question is, moving on to like more of the fun stuff with NYU, because
of course.
no, if I'm in the city, dude, like you could ask anyone, like that's my favorite down in that neighborhood. That's my favorite spot to be.
Uh-huh.
So any bar or restaurant recommendations that would fill it for our viewers at home?
I can tell you my favorite place. I don't know if it's there anymore, but my buddy, I call him the Paisan because he has the hookup all in New York City. But I'll tell you a story. My freshman year of college, we used to go to this place called Dahlia's, and we went there every Thursday. Except during wrestling season, it was hard to go there. But the other kids on the team that, you know, weren't competing at a high level, they would still go there on Thursday. But for me, during the season, I was cutting weight, so I wasn't. But before and after the season, different story. So we went to this place, Dahlia's, and where was it? It was like, I want to say it was by St. Mark's. I think it was by St. Mark's Place. And dude, we would go there every Thursday, and then gradually, week after week after week, the numbers got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. This guy before used to wear t-shirts. Now he's wearing these nice suits with the tuxedos. He would see us. He would let us cut the line. And, you know, we used to joke. We used to say, yeah, we're getting the free chips and guac, you know. But that place was rocking. And then, you know, it got closed down. You know, they weren't following protocols back then. But no, yeah, I don't know if you heard of Dahlia's. Did you hear about Dahlia's back in the day?
I've heard about it, didn't go to it, but the other spot that I wasn't exactly obeying protocols in the area was one-on-one.
Oh, one-on-one. Yeah, one-on-one. We went to where else? 13 Step. The Step, man. 13. I used to know the bouncer there. He's a big wrestling fan. His name's Jameek. Man, he was great. What else? Oh, dude, there was one. Oh, Hair of the Dog. Yeah, we got
that one. I know. Yeah,
we got kicked out of there a couple times. There was one. What's the one? What's the one right by Washington Square Park, next to the Broil? It's like you go down the stairs. Oh, I can't think.
No, I'm thinking of two, but isn't that just called like literally like the pub or something like that? I feel like it's just a simple like one.
What's it called?
Not a place that has pool tables.
Has pool tables, yes. You know
what you're talking about, but I'm.
Why is it slipping my? That's like an iconic NYU bar.
Yeah.
I can't think about it. I can't think of it. Oh man, but I remember the Step. Yeah, the Step used to have dollar beers on Tuesdays or Thursdays. And when you're in NYU, hey, you know, you're cutting it close.
Yeah. My buddy took me to a place down there. It was like off of Astor, Astor Place or St. Mark's or like somewhere around there. But it was like,
yeah.
You had to cut through a Japanese restaurant to get it. It was like a speakeasy.
Oh, that was probably it's called Crip Dogs.
Is it?
Like
Yeah.
Hot dog place, and you go in the phone booth. Yeah, and they bring you into a bar. Yeah. That place, they got good hot dogs too.
I love that. I went to the speakeasy. I got like a $25 drink that had smoke coming out of it. And I don't know what was in it, but I felt very classy drinking it.
Have you ever been there? Have you ever been to Crip Dogs?
No, I've not been to Crip Dogs, but it literally sounds like Sugar Factor. I've seen the same thing, like these weird, elaborate like drinks that just has like smoke and other shit like coming out of it. I just have no idea what it is, but as you said, it just seems like the bougiest thing.
Yeah, but it's this hot dog place. No, they got really good hot dogs, but they have a random phone booth in there. And who uses phone booths, right? So you go in there and you talk on the phone and they just let you in, and it's a bar.
See, that reminds me of like this burger spot on 59 Central Park South. It's basically in the lobby of this hotel, and you like go behind a curtain.
Oh, is it called the Gem?
It's called the Burger Spot.
Oh, the Burger Spot.
Like go behind a curtain, you walk down this long corridor of nothing, and then you just enter this very like low budget. It looks very low end, but like the burgers are amazing. Like just this burger spot, and it just does not relate whatsoever to the rest of the bougie ass hotel. And, like I love the fact that NYC has those like hidden gems. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like those spots better than like One Oak and like Up and Down.
Yeah, like everyone goes there. Like
it's like whatever, you just spend a fortune, and it's like, you know, I'd rather go to the dive bars and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
That's where the real New York City is.
Yeah, when you're a broke college student, you got to take what you can.
You got to take all the shots you can get there.
Yeah. Were you? This is probably like me showing my age a little bit, but were you at NYU at the same time that the kids from The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody went there?
Yeah, actually, my freshman year, my buddy's RA was one of, I think it was whatever, either Zach or Dylan or whatever, Cole. I think it was Dylan, like Sprouse. And he was the RA. He was my buddy's RA. It was crazy. Wow. Like we would go to my buddy's like dorm room, and like you would just see one of the Sprouse twins like, hey, what's up, bud? How you doing? And that was so great about NYU. It was like you see these people and it's just like it's whatever. Like I used to see Alec Baldwin when I would walk to my Friday morning classes, and even Alec Baldwin be all hungover walking his dog, and it's just
Right.
like, "What's up? How you doing, my man?" He's like, they give you the old wave,
It would have
and
been. Oh, sorry.
huh?
No, please continue. I was going to make a funny joke. I was just going to say, like, it would have been better if Mr. Mosby was their
Oh yeah, that,
It, you stole it right out of my mouth.
yeah.
They
No,
had
but
no
like
opportunity to be like, what are you
we
doing?
would be getting out of wrestling practice, and you would just see Adam Sandler shooting hoops at the gym, at the NYU gym, at Cole's gym. Like he'd just be shooting hoops, and we would just be getting out of practice, all sweaty and cranky, and it's just like, there's Adam Sandler just shooting hoops. I don't know if you guys know who Nastia Lukin is. She was a gold
Yeah.
medal gymnastics,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she was on Dancing with the Stars. So she was in my class, like a couple of classes, and like Dancing with the Stars was in there, just like filming. And me and my buddy Austin on the wrestling team, we're trying to get on camera, like. But she was cool. She was in my group for a lot of projects. But it's just you get so many cool people in NYU, and just the city itself, man. It's something else, and I miss living there. You're lucky you're still in there.
Nah, man. It's honestly like it's awesome. Like, but at the same time, like I have one semester left and it's remote, so like I kind of feel like I'm missing out on some stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, the city's still gonna be the city. I'm not going anywhere. So
Right.
You're
Yeah.
not missing out if everything's shut down.
Yeah.
There's nothing to
Dude,
miss
it was
out on.
awesome though. Like, I love Jersey. Jersey's my heart and everything, but still it's like New York City, man. It's weird going there, and it's different, like it's different going into it, and then it's different living there. Like you probably know it from living there. It's like all these places, you know how to take the subway and everything. And
yeah, I'm sure.
that was enough.
Like,
That was a big reason why I went there. At first I was like, oh, it's the city, like blah blah blah. And it's like once you live there, you honestly absorb the whole thing, and you can literally get whatever you want there. Like any type of person's there, any type of food, any type of whatever. You just like it's literally the world is in this one city.
absolutely, man. It's really such a special like environment, and like as you said, you have to learn like these tricks. Like for example, like my girlfriend just moved here and she's like, I don't know how you figured out how just the subways work, and there's so many different ones
You
of them.
figure it out in a month. You just
Like
go out.
no,
It's
exactly like
funny. Yeah, it's funny. My weekend at college, it was like, like I was lost. I didn't know where to go. And so like a dumb freshman I called my mom. I'm like, Ma, she goes, you got to figure it out. I don't know the city. Leave me alone. You're on your own now. I'm like, oh crap. Okay.
that's good long-term parenting though, you know what I mean? They were like, you know what, you gotta spread your wings a little bit. And that's honestly like the way you got to do it. That's like how my dad did it. My dad literally like was on the subway with me. He was just like, all right, I'm going to get off here. You get off in 2 stops and I'll see you at home.
Yeah, it's funny
was-
because my mom, she's like,
What?
I don't go to the city. You got to figure it out. Oh, it's
Hey,
great. But you learn quick when you take the wrong train. That F train, it's running late sometimes. You got to take the A instead. Sometimes you got to walk.
mm-hmm.
You figure it out.
No, for sure.
You don't call it the F train for no reason, right?
Sure.
So last question that I got for you, Ray, before we move into the fan questions. And I apologize for this in advance, but I promised my girlfriend that I would ask this. So I actually, before you got booked on Invictus and everything, I knew who you were because my girlfriend is a very big fan of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay.
And she made me watch the first episode of the spinoff called Dragnificent.
You mean you wanted to watch it?
No, she definitely made me watch it. Yeah, I would never. But in that episode, one of your training partners, Corinne Mink, is the subject of that episode, and as part of it, she brings the drag queens to the Team Adams school, and the queens spend a good amount of time thirsting over you while you're teaching them how to wrestle. So I promised my girlfriend that I would ask you about that and what meeting Thorgy Thor was like.
Oh yeah. Oh, they were great. They were all great. So Corinne, Corinne's great. I love Corinne, and she's a big part of Team Adams, and we love having her, and Javi's with us too. Her husband is now training with us at Team Adams, and training at Team Adams, it is a family, and it's a close knit group. So when Corinne was like, yeah, like I'm doing this thing for TLC, and like me me and Damien were just like, okay, TLC. She goes, yeah, can they come in and, you know, just show them a few things? And we didn't know who them. We just thought it was TLC. We're like, yeah, well, TLC. She goes, yeah, they'll record it and everything. And then like the producer got here. They're like, oh, it's for, you know, RuPaul Drag Race and everything. And I wasn't too familiar with it. Neither was Damien. So, you know, when they came in, it was like, we're like, well, they're like, we want to get your actual reaction. We're like, well, like they're actually really tall. Like it was a cool opportunity, and it shows how great Damian Adams is, that he could show anyone how to pro wrestle and train anyone. And, you know, it was a fun time. It was really fun. I had a lot of fun that day.
Yeah, they're you know, I always joke with her, like, because what, you know, when she and I first started dating, you know, like I brought her to a wrestling show and she brought me to a drag show within like the first couple of months, and we were like, wow, there's a lot of overlap here. Like,
Yeah,
just
Corinne talks about it all the time. Corinne talks about it all the time, and you know, Corinne, I think blends both of them in, and it's pretty cool. You know, I wasn't too familiar, but when after we were done filming and everything, they told us there's a lot of similarities. So
yeah, it's 100%. It's about putting on the big, larger than life personas, and, you know, going out and doing what you do.
I heard that with comedy too. I heard comedy is a lot like pro wrestling too. Comedy and musicians too. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I did do an open mic comedy night, and I would much rather cut a wrestling promo than do open mic
Yeah.
comedy.
By Mercer Street, you spend your time by Bleecker and Mercer by the comedy store and stuff.
Oh man. All right, so let's move into our fan questions now. Nick, did we get any questions on Instagram?
Yeah, actually, before we move to fan questions, you mind if I just ask my questions before, so we can just keep it continuous? So besides obviously being in NYU, I mean, you know, obviously breaking the fourth wall for a second, you know, when I first saw you at November Rain in the Scramble, I was like, holy crap, this guy is a specimen. You know what I mean? Because like I love, like, your style of wrestling is the style I love probably the most. I mean, besides, you know, the whole NYU connection, I also do grappling and MMA. I've done that since I was, you know, 6 years old. So like, you know, I competed for a while. I used to have to do a lot of the cutting weight things as well. So, you know, just to give you some of that background. So some of my, you know, first lead off questions is, how much is the most amount of weight you had to cut, like going into the week of, you know, match? So say you had a match on Saturday, like that Tuesday, what's the worst?
My worst weight cut. And it was I cut 14 pounds in one day. It was Christmas break, junior year in high school. I had to wrestle. There was actually two. One was that, and the other one was my junior year in college when I had to cut weight to make, you know, wrestle at MSG because we had Grapple the Garden. Little fun note: I'm undefeated at MSG. I'm 4-0 at MSG. But the worst weight cut, I had to lose 14. Yeah, write that down. That's a good statistic. 4-0 at MSG. But I lose 14 pounds in one day, and I always made weight, and it was right after Christmas break. It was like literally, no, it was right after Thanksgiving. So it was like, I was like, oh man. And we had to wrestle Saturday. So in college, they don't give you a +1 for the holidays. They don't care. So I went, I had this thing called Abilene. Before Sweet Sweat was a thing, I used this thing called Abilene. And it's a makeup remover that opens your pores and just makes you drip sweat. So I had that and a sauna suit on, which, you know, is illegal when you're cutting weight in college. But I used that, and I lost about maybe 6 or 7 pounds. And then after that, you know, I had a little bit of food and stuff. And then I had to cut weight again, did the old Abilene, and I went in a hypoxy chamber with the same thing on. That, you know, sauna suit, and then I had like it was kind of like a scuba suit. I think now it's like they have something called a cutting weight suit, but I would wrap that on. I was in a hypoxy chamber, and this is what almost passed me out. So a hypoxy chamber is like a treadmill, and it has like a glass around it that just sucks all the air out. Oh, dude, I was dead. And then I sat in the sauna for a little bit, and then I lost that weight, and then I floated about 0.5 the next day. Usually I floated about a pound, but that for some reason I was only 0.5. So I had to do a little bit of spitting and running in the morning, and then I made weight. So
that's nuts. That's absolutely crazy. I mean, for me, it's like, I thought mine was bad. I
But
had
the good thing with MMA is like you didn't have to do that consistently. With high school wrestling, it was better cutting weight in college because you wrestled like once a week. You had a tournament, like
yeah
because it's hard to travel in college because you all these places are in different places. High school, you're wrestling town, so you would have a match on Monday, and then maybe you have one Thursday, and then the weekend. So it was a little bit harder to do it in high school. But college, it was like you knew your body too. So I had it down to a science by like my my junior senior year after weigh-ins, because college at my junior year they lowered the weigh-ins to an hour from when you competed to help so kids don't lose 14 pounds in one day. So I found out I would drink pickle juice, pickle juice, and in a Campbell's chicken noodle can. Literally open up, swig it to get the sodium back in my body and the pickle juice.
Hmm.
Some people did Pedialyte. I didn't like Pedialyte because it like bloated me, and I would drink it too quick. Right? The Campbell's chicken, yeah, yeah. So, and I didn't like the way it made me feel before the match. So, I had it down. I would have the pickle juice, the Campbell's, and then some water and this carb drink that had electrolytes in it. I made it myself, and then like I made sure I had like one peanut butter and jelly and like a fruit, and that was it. Because you can't eat too much, because when you go on that first match, you're going out there, you'd be too bloated. But then it depended on a tournament. But I by my junior senior year, I had it to a science. But that 14-pound weight cut, dude. My coach thought I was crazy. Well, I didn't tell my coach that was a thing. He saw my weight before practice. He goes, "How the hell are you gonna do that?" I'm like,
just to catch up, Alex. He lost I asked him his worst weight cut, and he said 14 pounds in one day. Yeah.
Water. That's
yeah. That's crazy. That's nuts.
Yeah. I
mean,
it was made weight though. Another time it was like 10 pounds before. The 10 pounds, 10, 11 pounds. I in college, I knew if I was 10 pounds by that Monday and I had a week to do it, it was fine. It was just different because that was, the holidays.
Oh no, of course, man. I mean, I competed when I was like 16. Like I didn't know anything about I wish I knew more about nutrition the same way I do now. But like a lot of times, I felt like I was just kind of winging it.
Right.
Wow, that's nuts. Well, hey,
That's
man.
why now it's great. It's like now I feel like I don't eat as much because it's like, oh, I could eat this. This is great. Like
You're also I'm guessing, a very like active guy all the time with like between wrestling and all the different and coaching and all these other things.
And I do yoga. I actually just came from yoga before I talked to you guys. So, I get the yoga. You got to take care of the body. But yeah, hot yoga was great. I started doing it at NYU because meet new people doing yoga and.
Definitely. But the gym was a very cool spot. Just like the culture there was very cool. Everyone.
And it helped me with my just amateur wrestling. You get sore after a long long week of competing. So I'd go to the Hot Yoga Revolution on, hot yoga. No, was it Hot Yoga? No, it was Yoga to the People on St. Mark's. I would go there. I knew one of the girls there, so she would just let me in, and I would do yoga there. So it was good. It was good. Honestly, it's good for your mind and recovery, and that's why DDP has his stuff out, and everyone uses it. There you go. Yeah. It's really good for your body.
I mean, going along with that, when you were at NYU, my next question just perfect. When you were on the wrestling team and living in the apartment, I mean, listen, I lived in a frat house with all of my best friends. So like, even if they're your best friends in the world, sometimes you're gonna want to kill each other. Right. What was like one of like the worst elements of living with all the people in your apartment?
Dude, I lived with 9 other wrestlers my senior year, and we were all good. We were all about to be on the starting lineup, right? Before the season, we were like, this is great. Like, we had some parties and everything. And then once the season started, some guy didn't make the starting team. He lost his spot. Another guy, it didn't work out. And then, stuff happened. So, I mean, that was hard. But when you have a clear goal and you know where you're going, you try to get away from the distractions. But when you're living with distractions, it happens. And it happened to a couple of my other wrestlers. But like I said, that passion that I had with the Ultimate Warrior was telling me and stuff. It was just, I still had this passion. I needed to get this done. It was my senior year and I had to get it done. And the worst part was it was going into nationals. It was like a week leading into nationals, and like some of my roommates, they didn't make the national tournament, so you could see there was some, yeah, I don't want to call it jealousy, resentment, whatever, but they would have parties and stuff, and I'm like, dude, like I need to sleep. Dude. Like I'm going to the national tournament, bro. But you find ways. So I stayed at my buddy's place, or I crashed at different places that
Or
week, and then I had to talk with them. So that was the hardest, living with them. But other than that, I mean, it's fine. Like wrestlers get along with each other typically. But that was just the one part. But you can't blame them for that. And all of them are like my best friends to this day. So
that's awesome. That I would say that's such a bond to like, even though obviously like it's as you said like any sort of bond with that many people, like there's gonna be like this like oh my god, like I need to do X, Y, and Z, and this person wants to party or do whatever. It's such a cool thing to go through all that together, kind of thing.
yeah, and it builds character and it really tests you out. Now it's like if I got through that, like I could honestly get through anything. Like that 15-pound, 14-pound weight cut and getting through that senior year, stuff with my sister my junior year. It's like if I could get through that, it's like, this whole pandemic, man, I'll find a way to work harder and make it happen. Or, this happened to me here. That's it. I'll chalk it up. I'll just work harder. So I feel like don't forget your past. Always use what you learned, because everything eventually comes back full circle.
Absolutely, and that's honestly that's the mentality to have. And last question, I mean, when you're not cutting weight and when you're not worrying about diet or whatever, favorite pizza spot in NYC?
Oh, pizza. I mean, Joe's Pizza. I think Joe's Pizza was overrated a little bit. So was Artichoke Pizza. So, I mean, pizza you get anywhere. My favorite place to go, not even pizza. It used to be this place called Bauhaus on 13th Street. The guy Eddie Wan, no, it was on 14th. Eddie Wan owned it from Viceland, and I would get the manager's meal. It was like pork belly with like stew and all this stuff, and like fried chicken, and I would get it with a bow. That was my favorite place to go in the city. I think they just closed down because of the pandemic, but that was definitely my favorite place. I'm sure if you went down 14th, like down by I think it was a block or two away from Palladium, but like it was Bauhaus. It was like the neon, like the blue neon lights. It was great. I loved that place. I would go there before the pizza, because growing up in Jersey, you get pizza anywhere. So I mean, the pizza wasn't a big deal for me. But I remember Joe's was always a place. You got the dollar slices anywhere.
You ever hit up Prince Street Pizza?
Prince Street, where was that?
On Prince Street. It was like
Prince.
yeah,
Yeah.
Prince and Delancey.
Okay. We used to
Yeah, Prince
when,
and
yeah, there was a place, Mercer and Bleecker, where Coles were. We used to go to this place. It was called NoHo. It was like a juice bar, and they would make anything you wanted. Pizza, anything you wanted. We used to go there.
I love that. Fucking NYC, man.
Yeah.
You need anything. You need food, a new pet, a new, piece of furniture. I got you right now.
Got you right there.
But that was all for me. Now let's head right into some social media questions. People have asked and they want to get to know some stuff about Ray Jazz. So
Let's get it. The exclusive here.
some of these are, very cool. Some of these are informational. Some of these are, just about, they're funny. Hang on, let me just quickly scrolling down. All right, first one comes from Matt Montana.
Oh, the legend.
Do you put syrup on waffles?
I don't eat waffles. I eat pancakes. And yes, I put a little bit of syrup on there.
Reason for the, pancakes over waffles?
Well, I wish I used to have a waffle maker in college, and it got really messy. So I was like, it's just easier to make pancakes.
That. Next question comes from Vincenzo Galvano. He asks, what was the worst high school/college wrestling practice you ever had?
High school was harder than college, because that South Plainfield room, man. It was always the first day of practice after it was high school. We started after Thanksgiving, like my freshman year. That was probably the hardest one. And dude, it was a 4.5 hour practice. Like we had to run outside, and then we came in, we ran in school. I remember I was pummeling and hand fighting with Anthony Ashnault. He's a national champ. He was a national champ for Rutgers. He's one of my best friends. And we were just hand fighting each other in the hallways because they would have us do marathons in the hallway where we would sprint and do these running stuff. And we hand fought each other through the glass display in the art room. So that was a cool little story there. And yeah, we got in a lot of trouble for that one. But just that practice, just South Plainfield, we weren't the most technical wrestlers, but we were just tough, man. We weren't going to get tired, and we were just staying on people's heads and, and we drilled that every day. The practice was just a grind. So, but I remember that distinctly. It was when we hand fought so hard, we went through the glass wall.
Got it. Next question comes from Tiara Antoinette. No idea. Any advice for someone who wants to become a wrestler?
All right, so pro wrestling, I guess, of course, go to a wrestling school, reputable wrestling school, and make sure you're in shape, make sure you want to do it. Don't have the purpose behind it. Get in shape and learn how to pro wrestle first before you come up with any type of character idea, because that'll come. Just learn how to wrestle, learn it from the inside out, and that's the best advice I would have. But definitely go to a wrestling school and just put your full effort into it. Right? It's 24/7. If I'm not in the ring, I'm doing stuff on social media, I'm studying film, I'm working out, I'm doing yoga, I'm studying how to do promos, I'm marketing myself. So it's 24/7, and then balancing a regular job too, which is my job. Regular job too is amateur wrestling, so my whole life is just wrestling. So that's kind of a benefit. But yeah, definitely put your full effort in, and there's no shortcut when you have hard work. So that's it.
As a Power Hour exclusive jazz tip of the day.
Jazz tip of the day.
There you go.
This next one is from Gino Brings It. He goes, when's he going to get a manager to finally guide him to success? So I take it this guy's trying to get some.
Oh, he wants to be the manager.
Yeah.
I know
Gino.
Huh?
Gino Gotts.
Oh, I know Gino. Yeah, he's a good dude. I think he's good friends with Casey Navarro, and yeah, that group.
Oh,
yeah, I think he managed. Yeah, he managed Layla and everyone, right? That's Gino, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, hopefully Robert Stone, my main man, Robert Stone, best manager in the game right now.
There you go.
No, it's cool. I thought about it. We see how we blend, Gino. Let's see how we blend, right? My cousin's name is Gino, so maybe that's a good connection right there.
Sorry, Nick, could I just interrupt you for a second? I had some competition in that department because one of the questions that I got on Twitter is from Jared Silberkleit's cousin, Peter Silberkleit. That's literally his Twitter name, is Jared's cousin, Peter Silberkleit. And he says, why are you not managed by my cousin at Jared Talks Loud? If you were, you get to enjoy Domino's pizza with me. I think there might be a bit of a bidding war going on right now.
I don't like Domino's pizza. I live in Jersey. I don't need
exactly.
Domino's. Yeah. Went way down.
I'm telling you, Gino, he's got the Italian in him. Like I said, it's the blend.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
So this next question comes from our one and only junior referee. Junior to the senior referee. What's his informal title?
Junior senior referee.
Junior senior referee. All right. This next one comes from junior senior referee TKO Kasanko, who has tips on getting bigger forearms.
Forearms. 19 years of amateur wrestling. No, I'm joking. Actually, I might have something.
It's a lot of grip. I do got to say, you do got to
I have something. I'm looking for it now in my office here. That's like a gripper. Let me see if I can find it. But it's a cool little tool. It's like, well, here's one. This is not what I was talking about.
Is it like the thing where you have to scrunch it?
No, it's like this thing that goes on your full forearm, and you go, you do wrist curls, and you could also do the backwards ones. Man, I wish I had it in here.
Get one of those.
Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. I got it. Look, I got my little workout thing here. So here we go. Differentiate here.
Huh.
Look, you got this thing right here. You got this. You go like this. Boom. It's different how I work out forearms now compared to college, but you go backwards too.
Genius.
This one was huge in college wrestling. My coach gave me this. This is just pure grip. If you get the Captain of Crush was a good one, good brand to use, but that thing. But college wrestling, man, I was crazy with grip. I used to, get a bar and just keep on rolling because you want to get those wrists and keep their wrists. And I used to have a giant bucket of rice, like, uncooked rice, and I'd keep on going in there, reaching in, good old Bruce Lee style. But, stuff like that. But constantly just working them. That's it. Like, there's no secret. You can't just
It's like any other muscle.
like any other muscle, but a lot of it was just wrestling people and wrestling kids because it is just using your hands. So that's why those plumbers always have big forearms and stuff because they're constantly working their wrists.
Yep.
So that's what the rice thing works with that. But it's funny, like even if I'm driving long car rides or even just talking to kids and coaching kids and stuff, I'll just be doing stuff with my hands. I've never been diagnosed with ADD, but I mean, I'm sure we all have it. But I always have to do something. So
I definitely get that. I'm the same exact way. I'm always like either pacing around or I'm always just find myself doing something. I can't sit still. So final question on my end comes from Brooke Burrell, who asks, anybody ever tell you look like Zack Ryder?
Zack Ryder, I get EC3 a lot, and I get who's the other one I get a lot? Just slipped past my mind. I get Ken Shamrock's son a lot. That's what Brian Pillman Jr. calls me, Ken Shamrock's son. Zack Ryder, I get it sometimes because the glasses promo pick, but besides that, I would say I look more like EC. They call me EC4.
Yeah, I was about to say Cardona. I don't know so much, but I can definitely, if anything, see that. You guys definitely have like the, good build and everything like that.
I see Shamrock too. A little bit.
I see Shamrock too. Yeah, definitely. I mean, hey, he's still in Impact. Who knows?
Hey, new tag team right there, right?
Possible dream match also.
Yeah, dream match. You're right.
But yeah, that's all on my end, and yeah. Alex, back to you.
On the Twitter sphere. Josh Albert Barrett on Twitter asks, what match would you like to have that you haven't had yet?
Okay, that's a good one. I mean, I'll go through all the companies, I guess. Yeah, Ken Shamrock would be one with Impact. AEW, I would really like to wrestle MJF, man. I feel like we're good. We could be good polar opposites,
Yes.
WWE, of course, every amateur wrestler would love to wrestle Angle, but that's not going to happen. I mean, maybe. But I feel like Matt Riddle would be a good match. Me and Matt Riddle. Tim Thatcher, that'd be a cool one. That'd be a really cool one. But like I said, one day at a time. But those are some good, those are some good competitors right there, and it'd be great. It'd be great to get in the ring with them and compete. But
all right. Some good names.
There you go. Or Matt Montana again. That'd be a fun one.
The outdoors.
All those guys.
Billy on Twitter asks, do you think you can beat Big Game Leroy in a game of Mario Kart?
Oof. I haven't played Mario Kart since like college, man. And I didn't have time to play games. I'm like Captain Phillips. I play no games. I just wrestle all the time. But yeah, if I'm down for any challenge, my man, let's set that up. You set up the date. We could play Mario Kart. We could play the college version where there's some like White Claws or Trulies involved. But hey, that's for another time. But yeah, man, we'll set it up. I don't play games. I don't know. Big Game Leroy, that's his thing. But hey, I'm down for the challenge. I'll give me a week to practice, and then we can figure it out.
That is 6 days more than he needs. He dropped 14 pounds in a day, Leroy. This man can do a lot in 1 week's time.
Yeah. I mean, I could shorten it to 3 days, it happens. Or we just do it tomorrow, whatever. I'm up for it. Let's set this up.
Right now. Let's just get one.
Get it.
All right. Moving over to Facebook now. Philly Trollman asked, or said, I know someone who fell for a prank that I played on them when they thought Triple H showed up on their day off from work. Cough, cough, at Kelsey Marie. So honestly, my question is, what's the best prank you've ever played on anyone?
Oof. I'll do I'll do an appropriate one first, and then off camera, I got a really good one I can tell you guys. Good prank I played on. Oh man, no, I can't tell that one. That one's too bad. Um, oh, okay, I can tell this one. It's not too bad. So, I mean, I was a junior in college, and I was the captain of the team, and I kind of feel bad for this one, but it was funny. Someone asked, "Oh man, how do you get?" It was a freshman. He goes, "How do you get your grip so strong?" I go, "You know." He goes, "What do you mean, you know?" I'm like, "Have you ever heard of Jorge Posada or Manny Pacquiao?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah." He goes, "You know what they used to do?" He goes, "What?" I go, "They used to just pee on their hands." They used to pee on their hands and really soak it up, you know? And he goes, "Oh, okay, okay." And like, I didn't think this kid was gonna take me serious. It was legit like the first day of practice. He was. And then like another month, he goes, "Ray, I've been doing what you told me, and I just feel like I'm not getting any stronger." I'm like, "Wait, hold on. You were really peeing on your hands?" He goes, "Yeah, dude, every morning in the shower." I'm like, "Dude, come on."
Wait, in the shower? That's cheating.
That's what I said at first. I was like, "Where have you been doing?" He's like, "In the shower." And I was like, "Man, that's your problem right there. You've been doing it in the shower." He goes, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, you got to do it right over the toilet."
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good one.
I was gonna say, I bet living in that wrestling house, there had to have been a lot of
Oh, there's a
fighting
lot.
going on.
There was a lot.
Um, Joe Grimon asked, who do you think will be in the finals of the social media championship tournament? If it's you versus someone, who do you think it will be? And if it's not you, who do you think it will come down to? Yeah, we haven't touched on this social media championship tournament yet.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't win it, right? I would say, but that'd be cool. I mean, of course, I want myself to win because I'm a competitor, bro.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's it. When is that coming out? When
We
is
got
that
the
released?
first episode coming out New Year's Day.
So go watch it New Year's Day, all right, if you want to figure it
Yeah,
out.
and one episode per week after that, every Friday. Um, Last question, which I think is directed more towards us, but I'd be curious what you want to say to it anyway. Andrew Donaldson, better known as Abs, Andrew's Better Body System, said, "Can I wrestle him in a one-on-one battle for ab supremacy?"
Ab supremacy. Okay. His is good. He's got that good. You can see the six pack. It's very. I
Very,
got it
very defined. Yes.
very defined.
There's a little bit of a standoff at November Rain where it was like a little bit of a sizing each other up thing, and it was pretty dead even. I'd say. I think it deserves a round two.
Yeah. Well, I got Amazon Prime free delivery one day too. I mean, sometimes they ship the same day, so maybe I'll get my hands on that abs costume.
I don't know what you're talking about. What costume? That's
Oh yeah.
those are the real deal.
Not a gimmick. I would like to see that though.
Let's do it. I'm down for whatever, my man. I'm down for whatever. You set it up, we'll make it happen.
Tremendous. All right, so that concludes our questions. Let's move into our reaction bit of the week. All right, so it is now time for our reaction bit of the week. So, Ray, in anticipation of your appearance on this week's episode, I was doing a little bit of homework. I was doing a little bit of research because I admittedly know a lot more about pro wrestling than I do about amateur wrestling. So I was coming across some of these highlight videos on YouTube here of some crazy amateur wrestling moments. So I watched this one video. You might have seen it before, but I'm going to share my screen here and want to know your professional opinion on some of these moves here. So we'll watch the video. I could pause it whenever you'd like me to. But yeah, I want your breakdown on some of these moves here.
You gotta let them know you're there. Gotta let them know you're there. That's the Russian guy. That Russian guy in the red second, he's pretty good. Woo!
The neck strength on some of these guys is insane.
Oh, he took him out with that one. That's like a Dave Schultz type move. Oh, need him right in the face. I know that guy. The guy in the blue. He trains at. I trained with him at the athletic club a couple times.
Oh wow, this guy.
Yeah, he was. It's funny at the athletic club when we used to wrestle there. We would get guys just like any person that was randomly in the city, they would train there. Like a couple of Japanese guys and stuff. There was this old Russian dude. He must have been like 60 or 70. He would just come there, grab your wrist, and flip you around.
Wow. Like a little kid background there. It's like in a basket. Oh, he's holding his basket.
That's what I gotta do. I gotta do.
I was gonna say, you ever do anything like this at any of your meets?
It's funny. They gave me a lot of crap. My buddies gave me a lot of crap after I All-American. They're like, man, you did every celebration in the book. That's how it sometimes gets. Fortunately, fortunately, none of my matches got like that in college. I was always really respectful.
Yeah.
But I seen it get heated like that. We had a couple of bench clearing stuff. Ooh, he gave him a nice right, didn't he? That was like boxing right there.
Instant replay there, yeah.
Ooh.
And winner by KO.
Nice talk. See, none of these are American guys doing this though. You didn't see one American guy doing anything crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough one right there. That's a tough hold. Got him knocked out. Yeah. See, there was.
What would you call that? That whole. I mean, you couldn't really see it, but like from the. I think I show a replay here.
Yeah, this is all freestyle, so they know how to lock it up.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the arm spin. He tried to go for my move, the arm spin. He missed it. He's saying that's a slip, so that coach is saying that he slipped on that arm drag, so that shouldn't count. They have something in freestyle where if you go for a move and there's a slip, it doesn't count. So that's why they do that brick out there.
Okay.
And after every period, they wipe down the sweat because you get sweaty. That's only freestyle. Though. That's not in college. This is all world team stuff.
Right.
The world level. Which is weird. America's the only country where we wrestle folk style. Everyone else wrestles freestyle and Greco. You know, that's why a lot of guys can't adapt to the next level. There was just a guy from India that beat my buddy Ashnault at one of the things this last week. So India's on the come up at wrestling, man. Ooh.
That's some flexibility there.
Beatball?
Yeah, that's a challenge brick. I guess they challenged the call and they threw it at him.
Wait, so they use like so it's not like flags.
No, yeah, it's whatever they basically get their hands on. Oh man.
I can see that.
Yeah. What's great is none of these are American guys fighting, and we hold our composure really well.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like they let it out in other ways. They do these wild like dance moves.
Yeah. Ooh,
Just swinging. This turned straight into a boxing fight.
that could have been Kyle Dake. It looked like Kyle Dake.
Yeah.
I just kicked him in the
You
air.
just kicked that dude right in the bum. Wild.
It's like the Russian trials. I'm surprised they didn't show in the Olympics. Remember when the guy took all his shirt off and stuff in the middle of the Olympics?
Oh yeah, I do remember that actually.
I'm surprised they didn't show that one.
Crazy. So that has been our reaction bit of the week. So let's move in right into our news roundup for this week. So, time for our news roundup of the week. Of course, not such a very happy week in the pro wrestling community. Of course, one news story pretty much dominating the conversation this week, which of course was the unfortunate and very untimely passing of John Huber, of course, better known by his ring names of Brody Lee in AEW and the Independents, and Luke Harper in WWE. He passed away at the age of 41. He leaves behind his wife and two young children, and many, hundreds of wrestling fans, coworkers, and just really tragic situation. Just reading nothing but really awesome things about him. That he was clearly a great man, both in and outside the ring. So I thought rather than our usual news roundup, we can just kind of share our thoughts, our memories of Brody Lee. I unfortunately never got a chance to meet him, but I will say he was always definitely my favorite member of the Wyatt family when they were a thing. I just thought there was something really interesting about him. And then remember when he had that match with Cena and he was busting out all of his best hits from the indies. And I remember I listened to an interview with him where he was talking about how when him and Cena were putting that match together, and Cena was like, yeah, he's like really just, he's like, go off, like do all your, he's like, cause I've seen your matches from, the indies and stuff like that. Like you can, move for a big guy. And then that prompted me to go back and look up his stuff from Chikara and CZW and Jersey All Pro and stuff like that. And when he was Big Rig Brody Lee, I mean, the man could, for a 6'5", 275-pound dude, he could move.
True. I mean, this was like I have a lot of the deaths recently that I felt like in wrestling this year. There's been quite a few, but I think definitely one because of the timing of this one, it being the end of the year after a very tough year for everyone. This was definitely a tough hit for a lot of people in the wrestling community, on top of the fact that he just, across every bit of feedback we've gotten from everyone, seemed like an incredible human being outside of the ring. I was always a big fan of him as well in the WWE. His matches, I mean, the Wyatts versus the Shield is honestly one of my favorite all-time tag matches, 6-man tags. Any tag match, any match in general. I mean, it's probably up there on my top list. It's one of those classics, and Luke Harper character always stood out. He, as you said, moved so well for a big man. His ladder match with Dolph Ziggler was one of my favorites. He made any guy just look incredible, and he also made himself look incredible at the same time. He knew how to put the other person over, but also put him over, which is a rare find for a lot of wrestlers who kind of tend to focus on themselves. And, as we've also seen from so many people lately, and I've learned so much from so many tributes that people have paid to him on their social media is just like how good of a person he was. You know, I didn't have a chance to meet him either, but you know, he seemed, from all accounts, and you know, I saw the little tidbits. I don't know if anyone saw the Sonya Deville, Brody Lee comparison. He texted, I forget who, but they reposted it. Oh no, it was Big E. Big E reposted a tweet of basically a text that Brody sent him. And it was basically saying how, I'm pretty sure it was Big E. Sorry if that's incorrect. Just saying how he always had these random feuds with the women as a joke. And it was a photo of Sonya Deville in her maroon suit. And it was side by side next to Brody in his maroon suit, you know, and like he had such a sense of humor about things, it seemed like, from like stuff like that. And, you know, don't know the guy personally, but you can tell a lot by, you know, how your peers speak of you in such a situation. And he seemed so loved by so many. And it hit home, you know. I mean, you know, it definitely was, even though you might not know a person personally, if you can sense the amount of pain someone else is going through just based on how they're writing about an individual, it does affect you. And, you know, I can definitely just tell by all the feedback from this week just how loved he was. So he will definitely be missed.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I never met him personally. I saw him backstage a couple times. I did stuff, you know, extra work and stuff here and there. But you know, with AEW, you know, with the dark match, you know, I had where, you know, I got thrown into the guardrail, you know, little Brody, you know, his son that got to have that cool moment with number 10. And, you know, and it was a great moment for him, especially it was right before everything went down. So you know, it's hard when, you know, you lose someone like that, you know, a father, you know, any relative or, you know, sibling. So it's great, you know, he had that moment. And you know, there's going to be so many, you know, I feel like the same vibe that you got, like so many people have stories and a connection with him that, you know, there's going to be other wrestlers and, you know, figures in his life that are going to help him get through this time. And, you know, and it's an unfortunate situation for sure, but I'm glad little Brody got to have that moment there. And you know, and you know, it's just, you know, my thoughts go out to the family and everything. So it's definitely tough, but you know, he was respected highly. And you know, I think they got the tribute show tonight, so
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we'll be I've got it recording, so I'll definitely gonna check it out after we finish up here tonight. But yeah, kind of a
a little bit of a bummer, but hey,
note, yeah, to end off on. But you know what? It's one of those things like you know, you can cry because we lost him, or you can smile because we had him.
it's
And
a celebration of life, you know,
yeah,
celebration of life.
yeah, 100%. And so yeah. Well, we'll finish up here for tonight. Ray, do you have anything on social media or any kind of presence out in the world that you'd like to plug before we leave?
Yeah. So, of course, follow me on Instagram. I'm almost at. I want to get to 10K, man, so I can promote some stuff on my story. Close to it. Ray _Jazz. I tried to make it Ray _Jazz, but it was already taken. So, Twitter @the_real_Ray Jazz. It's funny, in high school someone made a fake Ray Jazz account, like they've made a fake one. So in high school I had to make the real Ray Jazz. So it's not me being a wrestler saying I'm the real Ray Jazz. No, it was high school someone was being funny and tried to make a fake account of me. So I didn't have Twitter back then, and then in high school I had to create a Twitter and make it the real Ray Jazz. So long story short, follow me that. TikTok, man, I've took off on TikTok. I got like 16.2K followers on TikTok.
Really?
So
Wow.
follow me on TikTok. Give me a follow on TikTok, you know.
On TikTok, what is it?
Ray, I think it's just Ray Jazz on TikTok.
You got it.
And it was funny, the kids that I coach in middle school, they made me download. I'm like, what is this TikTok? I was like, I guess it's our version of Vine. It's like our version of Vine when we had Vine.
Same exact thing. I worked with kids and they did the same thing, and like I'm hooked now. It's
You're
ridiculous.
like, Coach, just put your old stuff on there. I was like, okay. So I was like one of the first wrestlers on TikTok. But I have a podcast. It's called the Breakfast Buffet Podcast, and I have its own Instagram too. And I do the jazz tip of the day. The jazz tip of the day. I do that on the Breakfast Buffet Instagram, and then I put it on my personal Facebook and Twitter. So I do a tip of a day every single day because the people need it. The people get inspired. So basically, I try to get any person, any career, any aspect, any age to just give me their favorite quote or just their favorite line or just anything that gets them through the day, their motivation. What is their jazz tip of the day? And the podcast actually was an idea I had in college, around when I was graduating, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, well, this is a perfect time to do the podcast and get a brand and personality out there, but also help kids find a way, not kids, find young adults a career they could be interested in. So I interview people with different careers. I had a lawyer, I had a real estate agent, I had an entrepreneur, I had someone who made masks, I had nurses, I had a police officer, I had a politician, I had a campaign. I have all these people, different careers and campaigns. So I had an electrician, I had a plumber, just the way they get to their career and their journey to getting it. Kind of like a way of, a quick version of, oh, I want to be a lawyer. What do I have to do? Or, oh, I really want to be a real estate agent. What are some good tips I could do to get started? So the podcast that was one of the big reasons for it. And, everyone has a story. Everyone has their own journey. And sometimes a lot of people can relate to it. So that's it for that. So if you guys want to get on the podcast, I would love to get you guys on, or give me a jazz tip of the day every day.
Yeah.
You got it.
Send it over. I'll be love to throw it up there. So
yeah, for sure. And we'll make sure we plug all of this in the description. Breakfast Buffet. I like that name too. It's a little bit of everything.
Because you can get whatever you want at the Breakfast Buffet.
Yeah.
One of the questions I was asked, what kind of breakfast food describes the Breakfast Buffet, the podcast? And I said oatmeal. They go, why oatmeal? I was like, because you could go to any hotel you want, the Holiday Inn, the Hyatt, whatever you want. There's always going to be oatmeal. But at different hotels, you could put, you could put fruits in it. You could put strawberries. If you want to put syrup in it, you could put syrup in it. Or you could just eat plain old oatmeal. But, you make it versatile. That's what the oatmeal is. That's what the Breakfast Buffet is. Get anything at the Breakfast Buffet.
Love it. Well, Ray, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a real blast. It's been super informative, and wish you the best of luck in your endeavor. It sounds like we're firing you. Wish you the best of luck in your endeavors and in the social media tournament coming up. And hope to have you on again soon.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right. For Ray Jazz, Nick Outman, and Ryan Gross, wherever he may be, I am Alex Aceta. And we will see you next time on Power Hour.
What's going on, Rockamaniacs, wrestling fans? I'm the Maroon Goon himself, Machismo Charismo, Bronco Bronson, and I'm here to tell you about the future of Invictus Pro Wrestling. You see, right now, they're going through many different endeavors. You can go on ProWrestlingTees.com and buy all the t-shirts they got that are on sale now for about $20 each. You can also watch their shows that they've done so far. Eruption and November Rain, they're both available on Gumroad for a $9.99 bundle. You get to own both, brother, baby. You better believe it. Woosah!